let's. I want to talk about, I guess, for each team. For obviously for us, I guess your key signings or key signing, in my opinion, for each, and then I'll talk about Savinho, which is our only signing this year. But I'll start with Arsenal. Calafiori, or I like to call him Ricardo Calamari. You know,
Ricardo Calamari.
yeah, bro, because he's
All
about to
right.
get eaten alive, bro. He's about to get eaten alive by my man Doku, bro.
I don't know about that because I mean, for the most part, from what we know from that interview, that really suspicious interview that Arteta gave, we're not going to talk about that interview. But I mean, he's been looking at this dude for over a year now. Pause. But I mean, to be honest, like when a coach wants a certain player like Calafiori for the longest time, same thing with like Rice, like how he's gonna fit into the team, what he's able to contribute, and that's just gonna show once he like consistently plays. He already made his debut against Lyon in the Emirates Cup, and he looked pretty solid in my opinion. Again, he's playing that role where as a left back, inverting into the midfield, and we've seen that a lot with Calafiori at the Euros as well. He's capable of like running forward. That big assist against Albania, I believe. That's definitely something that Arteta wanted in our team, because Zinchenko can offer that attack, but in defense he is terrible. And I'm still waiting on the day he leaves. I don't know why he got a new kit number. That was crazy. I mean, he got number 17. Like what? I'm sorry, you're disrespecting Alexis Sanchez's name right now. Like, I'm sorry. He needs to leave. I don't think he offers anything now that we have Calafiori in.
What? Yeah, who's gonna cry on the sideline if Zinchenko isn't there?
Bro, pass it on to like I don't know,
Reece
man.
Nelson? Is he, who else is gonna be on the sideline to cry? I don't know. I don't know who else is gonna be there.
I think the reason why Zinchenko hasn't left yet is because he has, I guess the bond with the team. Even though all the fans might hate him, he's like I guess the team still likes him, and
Yeah.
that's all that matters. That's why Cedric stayed for so long. But anyways, going back to Calafiori again, had a great Euros, and we all know where he's going to slot into the team. So I think it's a great signing, and considering when we got him for like 40 or 45 million.
And that was a battle too, right? Like you guys, I know Spurs had like interest, which we have interest in everybody, but like you guys had to take Juventus on for that. Like I think like Juventus really wanted him because Thiago Motta, that was Motta's player before. So honestly, I think that was a really good signing in both places.
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't say it's a battle because I think we knew like when Arsenal started scouting him, that man wanted Arsenal. Something behind the scene with Arteta and Calafiori. Fabrizio's gonna drop something in like the next couple weeks. It's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be in the Daily Mail 100%.
I don't know why. I don't know why Calafiori loves Arsenal that much, and Arteta loves Calafiori. It's a bit suspicious. But anyways, going back on topic, and great signing. We're also looking into signing Marino. It's the same old Arsenal transfer business. It takes like a month to sign someone, but I mean, no other team is going into signing him, and I'm actually looking forward to signing Marino because at the moment there's not any other options in terms of like a left eight, in terms of like a young player that can grow into that position. So I guess it's a more of a safe signing until we can find like a future left eight in like a wonder kid in like next couple of years, or when Yeri can step in that position. There's a lot of different options, but Marino is definitely a safe option, and he had a great Euros as well. Scored that crucial goal against Germany. I'm excited, and those are the two signings that we needed just to fix that left hand side. Everything else in the squad was perfect. We just needed someone in that left eight and someone in that left back. And once we sign those two players, we almost have like a perfect squad. Bear in mind in case we get any injuries, but I mean, overall, once we sign Marino, I think it's like a 10 out of 10 signing or a 10 out of 10 window. And like who else do we need other than like a Saka backup for like the past like 5 years? I mean, I think we're good.
I think the left wing you guys could take a look at, in my opinion, because here's the thing. I think Trossard, he's really, really good. I think Martinelli is one. He's starting to get a little bit I think he's become a little bit more predictable in terms of how he's attacking. He's not really going onto his left foot as much. as he should. And sometimes it's like, okay, as soon as you shut down his right foot, he's going to try and go to the left foot, and that just makes it even easier to mark him. But honestly, I think what messed up Arsenal a lot was trying to fit Havertz into that left center mid role for no reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that you have Marino, so it'll be, let's say Marino's finished, right? So it'll be a midfield of Marino, Odegaard, Rice, right? Calafiori, we will. Here's the thing, yeah, because where was when we finish this point, then I ask you another question. It'll be Calafiori, inverted with Declan Rice, and and this is no disrespect to Calafiori. I think he's like the reverse John Stones, like left footed. He can play midfield well if he needs to. He can slide. He's comfortable in the middle, and he's really good at driving the ball forward. Maybe his passing can get a little bit better, but he's also a young player as well. So I think I think that's a really good signing for you guys as well. And I also like the idea of having Kai Havertz up top and as your sole striker, and that's it.
Yeah.
I honestly think he's a problem, to deal with, just because of how he's starting to become more comfortable with his body. I know we talked about this last season. He just seemed like he was trying to, I guess he was still like adjusting into something. Something wasn't really clicking. Now things are really starting to click. So I think in terms of strengths, Arsenal really are close to being a bulletproof vest. I just think in terms of left hand side, I think that could be a little bit better. But I think having Calafiori there, that may add a little bit more unpredictability to Martinelli, because we haven't really seen that combo yet. Or Trossard. Instead of having Zinchenko in there and being a liability, or a guaranteed counterattack, down the Arsenal left flank. But what I meant to ask is, where does Timber fit into this? Because I think if he's your platoon player, that's super dangerous, And add on to Tomiyasu, and I'm blanking on other players as well, but like those two really stand out to me as, if those are like your next men up, you guys are in great shape for sure.
No, yeah, I think the depth definitely came into play when it comes to signing players like Calafiori and Timber. Even though we didn't have Timber at all the whole of last season, and actually, unfortunately, he actually got injury recently. I guess we're just rushing him back a little bit too quickly, but I mean, don't want to take the chance. But I mean, we still have a lot of defenders. We still have Tierney in the team, and for me, that's forgotten player at this point. I don't know why we haven't actually sold him, but I feel like he'll be a good squad player when it comes to the cup matches. Timber as well. I'm just more worried of the fact that if Saliba gets injured, who's willing to step into that position? Because I know we have. I mean, the I guess the players that can step into that position, like possibly Ben White, but he hasn't played center back in a while. Possibly Timber. He played in preseason, but again, might be injury prone. And then we have like Tomiyasu, who could probably go in there, and then maybe stripped around Gabriel or Calafiori. I mean, we have options in defense, but again, Saliba is just super, super important for us. Who's willing to step into that position? That's the most important part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess before we move on to Solanke and Spurs, so me and Matt did a full table prediction, but you don't got to do a full table prediction, Andy. So who do you think is going to be your top four? Like, I guess in order, like who do you think's who do you think's going to win the league, and then I guess who's going to get those European places, and then who's going to get relegated for you?
All right. So I mean, top two. I'm not gonna debate. I'm just gonna say Arsenal up top, and Man City in the second. I'm not debating it. It's the same debate we had last year.
The thing is, I actually said Arsenal's winning the league.
You said that last year as well. So
I did.
We can't debate about that. It's going to be the same thing as last year. But I mean, we have a good chance. But then again, it's Man City. They're a super team. It's like Golden State Warriors again with KD, Stephen, Clay. It's the same thing. But I mean, yeah, I'll have Arsenal first, Man City second. See, the rest of the Big Six is just really confusing because Chelsea are just a mess. Actually, I'll put Man United third just because they actually made a lot of good signings compared to every other window. They actually had a fantastic window, even though their players are just washed up Ajax players from 2019. It's something, compared to the other teams. I'll go Man United third. I think the fourth place spot is going to be where the problem starts because whereas Liverpool hasn't signed anyone, they can't even sign, a player from like Luton at this point. While they have like Salah, who's isn't washed up yet, but almost washed up. You have a new coach. I mean, they looked okay in preseason. Um, and if they can, sign like a 6, they can definitely, at least push for like a top 4 finish. But I don't see them like racing for, top of league for a while because now it's Klopp. Like Klopp was the most important person in that team. So man, I don't know. I think I put Spurs 4th. Not gonna lie, I think Solanke was a great signing, and as long as they don't, I guess, bottle it, and they don't get a lot of injuries, I think they'll do a good job just because their defense is solid, and as long as they just grow into their team, they could be a threat in the future. But I'm not saying anything else. 4th, and then Liverpool 5th, Chelsea 6th. Or actually no, Liverpool 5th, Aston Villa 6th, and then Chelsea.
Okay.
Because I think Aston Villa is going to fall off because they don't have Douglas Luiz, and he was super important.
Mm-hmm.
And then who else was I?
Relegated 3.
Yeah, relegated 3.
Relegated 3. I mean, I haven't been keeping up with like the bottom teams. Not gonna lie, who got promoted? It was like Ipswich, Leicester, and
Southampton.
Yeah.
Southampton.
But I think Leicester's going to get a point deduction at some point this season. I think that's been pretty much confirmed.
And same with Everton as well.
Oh, Everton's going to get a point deduction? I didn't see that.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Everton's getting relegated. I think after losing Onana, that's a big loss.
That's true. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that.
Very important. And the only reason why they were able to stay up is because, like, what was it, Dugory? Was that like 2 seasons ago? Or last season?
Yeah, Dugory had that screamer against who was it? Was it Brighton?
Was it Brighton or was it Luton? One of them, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago. What couldn't have been Luton?
Yeah, right. It was 2 years ago. I think it was Brighton.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say them, Everton. I'm gonna say Nottingham Forest as well.
Oh wow!
So you think 2 of the 3 stay up? Are the new teams?
I mean, I think Leicester's staying up.
Okay.
No matter what, I think their relegation was just a fluke, and I mean, their fan base is too good, and it looks like their squad is also amazing as well. It's just like, again, just keeping that consistency. But I think Leicester's staying up. I think Southampton's just gonna stay up just because they're Southampton. They always have a young team, and I'm just gonna say Ipswich. I don't know much about Ipswich besides like Amari Hutchinson, but I have no prediction. I'm just gonna say Ipswich.
Okay, yeah, it's cool.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's a solid list as well. I like the Chelsea shout because Matt and I had Chelsea in the mud. If we're being honest, we thought that we had a whole discussion about how disorganized they were. But yeah, I guess we could transition into Solanke. And Andy already said it. You know, he thinks that's a great signing. I definitely agree with him. And I know we talked about Solanke last time as well, Matt, but not in depth as we can do it now. So yeah, what were your thoughts on I guess the deal, the business, the money, everything involved with getting him into a lily white shirt?
Oh well, like the first thing I want to touch on, and I think Andy kind of had the same thing for Calafiori, is if like you think a guy is your guy, you go and get him. And it seems like that's what Ange has said multiple times. This is the striker we wanted to get in the whole entire time, even though we've been linked to Yorkes, we've been linked to David, we've been linked to Tony. So we've had a couple other strikers that have been like shouted to us, but it always seems like they wanted Solanke. Based off of his numbers, last year he kind of just had like a breakout season. So that'd be my biggest fear, is just like he just like popped off one season. Are we going to be able to get that consistently? Like, I'm not expecting 23 goal contributions or even like 19 goals, but can he consistently get us 15 goals for a couple of years would probably be the biggest question. However, I think he fits well with what we want, because if you watched a lot of Spurs in these last like couple, they like having the wingers on the edge. They don't like the wingers really inverting. So if you can have touchline wingers who are crossing the ball in, Solanke was 100% the best last year with aerial duels. I believe he won 98 aerial duels last year, which is like way ahead of where Richarlison was. Richarlison, even though I think Solanke probably had about like 1.5 times the minutes that Richarlison had, he had like 3 times the amount of aerial duels won.
How tall is Solanke?
I don't know, but I'm guessing 6'3", 6'4". Like he's probably about this size.
Wow, 6'2".
the height of your average center back. Is it 6'2"?
So yeah, 6'2".
Yeah, but he has a very physical presence, and I think I was watching a video today about it where he's kind of grown into his body when he was younger and at Liverpool. He really didn't want to get into physical battles with center backs. But over the last couple of years at Bournemouth, he's kind of like actually grown into his body more and has learned to like use his body to shield off defenders, not only to win like aerial duels, but to like hold and maintain possession. So overall, I think it's a great signing. I think people who are worried about the money, I mean, if it's your guy and you feel like this is the striker, and the Premier League doesn't really have a lot of like great out and out nines right now. I mean, there's obviously Holland, and then it'd probably be Isak, and then Ollie Watkins. But outside of that, I mean, I don't think there's a clear cut like fourth guy there. So if you think this guy is the striker, the fourth best striker in the league, and this is the guy that's going to be a difference between you finishing fifth like you did last year and then actually cutting the gap to the top three. I mean, I think that's just like an obvious decision.
Right. Yeah. No, I think, and that's the thing. Like, I think that's a great point because a lot of the goals now it's just like wingers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
a lot of it
Saka.
was low crosses, but it was being finished off by other players. Like a lot of our
Right.
like Destiny Udogi's getting in the box. He's a great player, so I'm not like trying to say this in an insulting way. But I mean, he's in there and he's finishing off a shot that like Richarlison should be finishing off. Like he should have the awareness to know this is the space I need to be in. So having a guy who's more natural to that ability there, I mean, I think that would only make it better. And I think we have
Mm-hmm.
Johnson can put in a good cross there. Sometimes he's not, like I still think we probably could get better on the right wing with him. Him or Kulusevski, I think they're both good players. Sonny, of course, on the left wing, he's dynamite. We'll get 25 goal contributions from him as long as he stays healthy. I feel like every year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then I feel like because we kind of just did like the Arsenal team building type thing, so I think I'll just touch on Spurs a little bit. I think our midfield's solid. I think we have about 6 or 7 guys right now. So getting rid of one and bringing another one in, just kind of a more like box to box 8 to kind of go with. It's like a holding guy like Archie Gray will probably be our holding midfielder for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of a guy to slot in while we figure out with Bergvall. Because I don't know if you've watched much of Bergvall, the guy that we got in from Sweden. He looks incredible.
Yeah, I texted in the chat. I was like, "Yo, who's this Draco
Yeah,
Malfoy dude?"
yeah,
Bro?
dude,
Like,
he's incredible, man. He was running he comes on in the second half, and both of the Bayern Munich games we played, and just like was like, I'm gonna run the show today. So
crazy,
I
bro.
mean,
Like,
I
where did that come from? Like,
he came from I'm gonna butcher the name, so I'm not gonna say, but I think it was like Jagardens, and it's a Swedish club because he's Swedish.
right.
Uh, but this guy's like ever since he was like 13, everyone's like, okay, this is like our next, big time star to come out of
Mm-hmm.
the developmental system. So, and we actually beat Barcelona out. It was like a very big thing at the end of the
Yeah.
last winter window. Whereas, like, is he going to go to Barca or is he going to go to Spurs? And he ended up picking Tottenham. Uh, I think we're kind of setting up for the future here, where, like Andy said, I don't think we can say that Spurs are just like contenders this season. I think that'd be stupid. But in the future, like it's a very young squad, and I think
Mm-hmm.
we could see how it's being built out on both sides of North London. So I think that it'll make the rivalry better. And when City gets relegated, of course, because everyone thinks City's going to get relegated, we could just have the Tottenham Arsenal rivalry at the top of the table while everyone else figures it out.
Hey, don't sleep on Ineos, bro. Don't sleep on Ineos FC. They want to sue everybody's executives and players all of a sudden, and they think that they're the greatest things in sliced bread. Um, no, but seriously though, I think I like how Arsenal. I mean, I think I said this last year as well. I like how Arsenal's building their squad. I also
Mm-hmm.
like how Spurs are building their squad. I think for the longest, Arsenal really didn't have an identity,
Mm-hmm.
and Spurs for a while. You guys are just stop plugging managers in, hoping
Mm-hmm.
for the best. And obviously, when that happens, and you fire a manager every 2 years, and it's like okay, another guy comes in. something falls out, another manager comes in, another fallout. Like that's just not healthy. And when you have a manager who's willing to, take on a big challenge of rebuilding, not just, in terms of results, but the culture of the club, and having it trickle down from not just the players and not just his coaching staff and the training staff, but also just like the front office and obviously ownership, because it becomes infectious. Like when you see a driven person actually have changes made, that's obviously I guess comes down to results as well, and you see a lot of people are happy, and you see like the harmony of the squad is at a different place than what it was before they came. You have no choice but to back the manager. You have no choice but to trust his plan and to do everything from either ownership or as a sporting director, whatever it is. You have to do what needs to be done. So I think Arsenal did a great job at getting Calafiori. I think the defender that they really needed, the profile. I think Spurs did the same thing. Trying to find that profile player that fits their needs instead of going for a name.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you should build a team, right? You shouldn't be looking at names, because when you do that, look at Man United. That's all I gotta
I
say.
was just about to say that.
You're telling me the guy you don't like the Delict signing? Just signing the guy who's coincided with the Juventus and the Bayern Munich fall offs, like the major signing, and then everything's gone wrong, and United's like, let's go bring him in.
The fact that here's the thing. That's the thing about Man United. They live in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that they're celebrating these signings, like these guys are like fresh from Ajax, from that one great year
Yeah.
that they had. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Now,
like what's wrong with y'all,
now if they
man?
bring in Ugarte, that's like be a great signing in my opinion. But the
Loki.
Mazraoui and the Delict signings don't do anything for me, really.
Yeah, yeah. They do need a six. They definitely do need a six. But I mean, I still think for some reason, like if you look at their training, like Carrington, bro, that place is ran down to the mud. So it doesn't matter who they sign in. Look at Euro, right? Look at McGuire. He's injured now. Who else is injured? All their signings are basically injured. It's just like, okay, like is it
is
really
is
worth
Lisandro
it? But
Martinez injured right now?
I don't think Winnie Euro is to start the season. That's who I think it was.
Oh yeah, Euro.
So I think it will
yeah,
be to start the season. It'll be Martinez and Delict, and then they'll probably try to like bring in Euro.
yeah. And then Dello will probably start on the right, and
Luke
then on
Shaw's
the
out
left,
too as well to start the
yeah, Luke
season.
Shaw.
So I mean, they just kind of need to like I don't know. They had that like Chelsea or Newcastle thing from last year where like you wake up and another guy's injured.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is,
Um.
they signed so many defenders this window. They also signed Xerxes as an attacker, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, apart from like, you can't even say apart from like their attack is like can be just super inconsistent. Like I know Garnacho is improving to be like a great
Mm-hmm.
winger in the future. Are you sure you want to rely on that kid again, like you did with Rashford? Now he's falling off. Like for me, Rashford also just like last season was terrible, and I know he always has like inconsistent seasons. Like last season he was great, or last season was terrible. Season before he was great. Is he gonna be great this season? We don't know. And their whole entire fans just like attack Rashford anyways. So who knows if he'll be willing to stay there for a while. I mean, he's getting a lot of money, so I would stay there for a while.
Right.
And who else you have? Like, I'm not gonna say that one Brazilian guy's name. That guy is not Brazilian. False Brazilian. And you have the other English dude. Not even gonna say his name. We all thought he was gonna have a great season at Dortmund. Now he's going a $60 million deal to PSG. Like, you want
Yeah.
more money? You want to go to PSG? I mean, their attack is still kind of wonky. And Hoyland, like, even though he started off well, he ended pretty poorly. He was still on like a giant like goalless streak every now and then, even though he might not be getting like support. You have Xerxes coming in, and I don't know what his profile is. Is he gonna be the striker or is he gonna be like a winger? Like, and don't get me started with that midfield. It's aging. Like
Yeah.
there's still a lot of problems with that club.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Xerxes said that he's a 9.5. I don't know what that means. Like he's just trying to say he's a false nine. Like
Is he like an inverted striker? Like what does that mean?
Right, like this dude's making stuff up. So like, here's the thing: if that's the tactical level that these guys are saying, bro, like okay, you might as well write them off. But maybe that's just me being a hater, and but who knows? But I just think United, they think that I think they're once again they're papering over the cracks. I think they're papering over the cracks. So I think at some point in time, the real will show out. So we will see with them.
They should have put that money. They should have put that money they gave to Bruno to that leak in the ceiling. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, honestly.
I know, right?
Old Trafford is falling down. All right. Moving on, Savinho. I think honestly, I mean, the way that we got him, very controversial. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. The fact that here's the thing, like Girona,
it's always something.
Yeah, look.
It's just a coincidence. That sounds like case 116 to me. I think you might need to get that jersey done.
Allegedly. Remember that asterisk. It's not proven yet, but it may not ever be proven ever. But look, I think he is a great player. I think the fact that we've been looking for like a Mahrez type of player for a while, ever since he left the team for obviously last season. I thought people were like, oh, Doku is that guy. Here's the thing, like Doku's a good player, he's a good dribbler, but when it comes to the end product, like the crossing, getting goals, like he's very inconsistent. Sometimes he gets predictable as well. In terms of he does like that fake cross ball roll. He does like the shimmy to the left, and he does like the cross on the ground cut back. He does that like 18,000 times. And it's like, okay, as a defender, you know what's coming. So I think Savinho, when he came on to the came on as a sub in the Community Shield, he lit up, the wing. Like, and he came on like for Girona, he played on the right hand side, so he got a lot of goals cutting in and shooting with his left foot. When he came on against United, he obviously played on the left hand side, and his strong foot was his left foot. I thought he did a really good job in terms of against Delo, attacking him, right? And not only just going up on the left hand side, like in the goal, in the Bernardo goal, he actually cut in from the left. So if you like watch him, he cuts in on the left, gets the ball, right? Plays a pass back to, I think it was who was it? I think it was the right back, Rico Lewis. So yeah, Rico Lewis, right? And then he gets the ball back on the right hand wing. So he basically switched the whole field by himself without doing a diagonal pass. Gets the ball back, does a 1-2, not even 1-2 with Oscar Bob. He fits a pass right into Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob obviously takes a touch into his right foot, crosses it, Bernardo header goal. But I think if that's the level that he's playing at and he's comfortable doing it in a Pep type of system, for me it's like, okay, this guy is going to be legit, like the real deal. Like if that's how he's already gelling with our attackers, bro, it's going to be dangerous. But I think for the money that we got him, I mean, I think you could say that really doesn't count in our books, I guess in the grand scheme of things. So you can kind of, I guess, a donation to ourselves, I guess.
You basically, it's basically like Man United signing Antony, but with a giant discount. Because at the time, while Antony was like a great talent, while Man United splashed like 100 million on him, Man City is basically signing a player of the same caliber at the time for just a lot less. I think as it's gonna make him better because he doesn't have that giant price tag, that giant pressure on him. Right. But it's essentially the same thing, just one giant discount.
He said discount.
Destroying one club, making your club better. It's like the rich get richer, the poor get poor. Like.
Yeah, no, we could have a totally different discussion about how I feel about, or how the Troyes, I can't pronounce this club's name, but how they're being treated and how they got relegated and just like an afterthought. Like for me, it's like, okay, like if you're gonna own the club, why are you treating them like this? And the fans have the right to be outraged because if that was literally any other club and like they just treated them like as like a feeder club, like to the fullest extent. That's not right, like bias aside, like that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
But it should have been like an 80 million signing,
Yes, Absolutely, because he was a big reason why Girona made it to the Champions League. Let's be honest, you know.
So, I mean, bro, like, again, I don't like the idea of like owners owning clubs of different places because you could just pull off stunts like that, signing a player for way cheaper than what you're supposed to be signing for, you know, just because one club or one owner owns the other club, you know, how it
Right.
goes down RB Leipzig as well. So
Yeah,
I mean,
for
that's
sure.
what Chelsea are trying to do as well. So I mean, it's kind of like different there because honestly, like the teams that they own, they really don't own enough teams that are like good enough to have the talent go up. But they've pretty much just been like sticking a lot of their like kind of like kids that are under the, you know, like just like absolutely like washed away. They're sticking them at Strasbourg, and Strasbourg was in trouble last year. I don't think they ended up going down. I believe they're still in. I still believe they're up, but I mean,
Yeah, they are.
Vitesse, as we know in the Abramovich era, it was pretty much just like indirectly run by Abramovich. So this kind of like multi-level ownership type stuff. It's definitely very sketchy, and I think sooner or later they will probably, try to limit it as well as they can. But we've seen with like the City Group and the Red Bull Group that's kind of given both of those teams an advantage now.
I think like you should like be able to own teams of different continents
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like there's a lot of if you're owning a team for like the same like continent, like there's a lot of direct trouble that can happen with that. Like you can own NYCFC and Man City and Melbourne and Mumbai City or whatever. It'll be nice for them to grow into into Europe, but like if you're just owning different clubs in Europe, that's the problem. These other clubs are just going to struggle because the one big dog club that your owners favor more than the other, that's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
But I mean, not to be like devil's advocate, but I remember, well, Girona did get relegated while underneath, the City Football Group management. So I think I'm not saying for Troya is like, be optimistic because anything could happen in football. Like anything literally can happen. Like look at Bordeaux. I mean, here's the thing: Koscielny had it coming to him though. Let's be honest. I'll be honest. The way he disrespected Arsenal. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm just like, okay, like, right. But look, here's the thing: like, I think for Girona, it took a while for them to get to this point, and people really don't understand, I guess, the history with Girona. But look, if the same thing happens with Troy, with Troyes, and they somehow, I mean, if they get promoted this season and they somehow become a Champions League club for France, and then the same thing happens with like how what percentage does City Football Group own? With that club, and then they have to change the numbers, like the percentages, and what I'm saying, like it's just like okay, like that's a lot of work. But I mean, we're fans, right? That's for Sheikh Mansour and Khaldun and all them guys to figure it out. So I'm just glad that we're not in the weeds of that. But yeah, I guess we could end not end the episode, but we could end Transfer Talk there. The Premier League is finally back, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm mad. Like, I don't know how y'all feel, but
I feel like it came really soon. I think it's just because the Olympic football, the Euro football. But I mean, it was also a really short preseason in my opinion. And then again, there's not much of a window, like transfer window this summer because all the games that are going on. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think the Arsenal team is ready. The game against Lyon definitely showed, and we definitely showed what our starting 11 is going to be going into the season. None of this random. I don't know how last season started. We had like Gabriel on the bench or whatever.
yeah.
It was a really weird start to the season last season. But I think going into now, I think we're looking good.
Yeah, I guess we can go and get into the predictions.
Are we doing
First
like
match,
all game by game, all games?
yes sir,
All right, I can pull up a fixture list real quick.
for sure. Go through the full slate, and I think the first match is on a Friday.
Yeah, I think no, they had the Monday game last year, but they didn't. United have the City had the Friday game last year, right?
Yeah,
You guys
we did
played
against
Burnley.
Burnley. Yep.
All right, the first one is Manchester United at Fulham. I think Fulham's kind of been a
Wow.
bogey team for them, haven't they?
High key.
Like, I
And
mean,
what's his face? Muniz or Muniz, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's been like lethal for them as well,
Wait,
especially against Man United.
it's Man United at home, right?
I know it's
Or-
at Craven Cottage.
I thought it.
Wait, is it?
That's what it says on ESPN. I'd take their word. Yeah. I thought it was at home too, but I guess it's not.
ESPN low key. I'm not gonna lie. If they're wrong on this, they should never be like ever like mentioned in like ESPN FC can go. Like everybody can
I'm
go. You
cracking
know what
up.
I'm saying?
But no, I don't know why they'd be wrong on it. But to my point, Fulham did beat them last time at let's see, I think it was at Old Trafford.
They did. Yes, it was it
2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Muniz scored one of those goals,
Let me
right?
see. It was Calvin Bassey and Alex Iwobi.
Iwobi. Oh yeah, you're right.
I remember watching that game.
It was plus 7 because Maguire got an equalizer in the 89th minute.
Right. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna need ESR to do something for us immediately. Is what it's looking like here in this Fulham game.
I'm hoping to.
What were your thoughts on that, real quick, before we kind of like?
I mean, not gonna lie, he was, edging closer to leaving. While like again, the whole entire Arsenal fan base loves ESR.
Yes.
Because when Saka was coming up, ESR is the first one to come up as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the partnership that he built with, I guess, the front three of like Martinelli, Odegaard, and Saka, and ESR from there, and then he looked good, and he also saved us in a bunch of games, as a youngster as well. But again, he had injury last season, had injury the season before. You can't really help him there, and there's not really a spot in the team where you can slot in. You could slot into the left 8, but again, he's not really like a box to box. He's more of just like a direct runner into like. He's more like in the position that Martinelli plays in right now, like a direct winger who can play 1v1. So I mean, it's a good sale. We got money out of him, cashed in, and
that's pure profit too. I didn't even think that's pure profit. Right. Didn't have to sell to a direct rival. So I mean, if that's the type of club you're selling to, I mean, I still feel like, as far as I know, there aren't any Fulham Arsenal beef. I don't think they've ever really intertwined.
I think
the only Fulham's only beef is like Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea. And even Chelsea is like, who are you?
Right.
So, and I like Fulham. So I don't want that the Fulham fans out there. I don't like Tony Khan, but I like Fulham. But who wants to go first on the Man United Fulham prediction?
I'm gonna go 2-1 to Fulham.
2-1 to Fulham. Okay.
Yeah. Because Man United sucks, bro. I don't care what anyone says, bro. Like,
the game is at Old Trafford.
It is at Old Trafford?
It's on the Prem website. Okay. It's on every other website. So ESPN is wrong.
Okay. Yeah, ESPN's got to go.
Okay.
Fire the intern or wherever we put that schedule together, bro.
All right. So does that change your opinion that it's at Old Trafford?
No.
No? Okay.
Not at all.
I think I got the opposite opinion because it's at Old Trafford. It's opening day. It's Man United. It's just textbook, Man United win, like a 3-0 win. They're gonna start off amazing. They're just gonna fall off. That's just how it goes, and that's always how the script goes. Remember when Man United beat Chelsea like 4-0? Dan James scored and stuff like that. It's gonna be like the same scenario. They're gonna be Fulham, and they're gonna dip soon. So I'm just gonna say like 3-0 win to Man United.
Okay. I'll go United to win like 2-1 in the most like Wolves opening game last year shenanigans where like Onana like Batista bombed the guy and they were like we didn't see anything. Onana's really good. So I think they'll just use some of their Red Devil magic to get through there. And then I hope they celebrate because they'll be at the top of the table, and I don't know how long they'll be at the top of the table for in other parts of the season. So I think it'd be nice for them to just be on top of the table for one day, and I could see a picture of Sir Alex Ferguson on United Trey's page talking about how the era has returned. So 2-1, I'll go 2-1 to United. The next one, the early game on Saturday, is Ipswich hosting Liverpool.
We love 7:30 kickoffs, and also Liverpool always has that slot. I don't care what anyone says.
What
I always
against a newly promoted team? Like they played Chelsea last year, but outside of that, I swear they always get like the worst team in the league the first game. I mean,
right. It's
they had
Norwich.
Chelsea last year, so I mean they did get the
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go by technicality,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. But by technicality, they had the worst team in the league last year.
I mean, since I started last time, I guess I'll go again. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. You know what? I'm gonna give Ipswich a goal. I'm gonna say it's 4-1 Liverpool. I think Liverpool's been on fire, bro. I mean, watching them in Philly, the way that they're passing the ball, I was like, yo, this is like they look ready. Um, and I mean, going up against a team that got recently promoted, it's gonna be it's gonna be a trap game. The crowd's gonna be hype. I don't know the last time Ipswich has been in the Premier League. I think it's been like the 19.
Yeah, I think this is the first time in this century. Let me look real quick.
I think they were in the Prem for like one season in the two.
Okay, so yeah, I
They
mean, I mean, obviously the crowd's gonna be up for a newly promoted team, and I mean, let's be honest, like I like Ipswich's youth, Delap, Hutchinson, and I'm like forgetting names, but they have a solid team, but yeah, I mean, it's Liverpool, bro. They have talent. I don't care who's the manager. Like that team is really, really good. They came in third last season, so yeah, 4-1 to the Redbirds for sure.
yeah, I think this game, considering it's Ipswich at home, first time being in the Prem for a very very long time, I think they're going to be putting in 110% of work into this game. You're playing against Liverpool, who have been not dominating, but have been a great team in the past couple of years, last 10 years really. So I mean, I'll still say Liverpool's gonna win, but again, it's just that opening vibe. Defense probably will be a little bit clunky. Um, I'm saying like a 3-2 win to Liverpool. It needs to give off that type of vibe. Liverpool's still gonna be on top, but Ipswich got to put in a lot of work in this game.
I was looking. The last time they were in the Premier League was the 01-02 season. So it's
Hmm.
been like 22 years in the making, pretty much, for them to be back up in the league.
Well,
And I don't think they start back with a win. I mean, I think their first two, I think, is Liverpool and Manchester City. So that was like very mean to do to Ipswich.
yeah, it's messed up, bro.
I mean, I'd had to look at that again, but I believe that's what they start with. And I mean, that's just like that's throwing a team right into the fire. Like, oh, you guys wanted to be back in the Premier League, welcome back to the Premier League. I'll go 3-1 Liverpool. Like I said, I think Ipswich. I predicted Ipswich to stay up. I just think they're gonna have that kind of like Brentford esque, Leeds esque thing that they've other teams that just newly promoted have gone up and they've just kind of used like we need to make our home a fortress. And I think they'll get enough points like that. But I mean, I just think this is a Liverpool team who are going to want to prove, at least at the beginning of the year, they just want to prove like, hey, it wasn't just Klopp's tactics. We're actually really good. They were really good in the preseason from everything I saw. And TJ, you said you saw them live, and you can kind of confirm that. So I think 3-1 will probably be a fair score for the game.
Hmm.
The next, it is the 10 o'clock slate on Saturday. It is Arsenal and it's Wolves. So we could probably go me and you first, and then we'll let the Arsenal guy go last.
Yeah, for sure. So
If you want to
yeah,
go,
I'm not
TJ.
gonna be a hater. If you can hear me,
TJ Frozen.
TJ might be frozen.
well, give me a second. Am I
Uh,
back?
You are back. You are
here.
back.
Okay, I heard what you said. So yeah, I'm not gonna be a hater. Look, Arsenal. Wait, who's at home?
Arsenal's at
Arsenal.
home.
Oh yeah, bro, it's gonna be an easy game for Arsenal. Even though let's be honest, like Wolves, they're a decent team, right? But I think obviously over the past 2 seasons, I think Arsenal understands. Like obviously, I think they understand it's a marathon, right? But I think with City, right, being your main contenders, I think you understand that every game low key matters. So yeah, honestly, I'm gonna go with a 3-1 win for Arsenal.
Yeah. I'll go 3-0. Like I said, I mean, like you just said, I think one of the things they noticed is kind of how thin the margins are. And I think goal difference is going to be something important. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like it's a 1-0 game or even like tied at halftime, and Arsenal just kind of like flex their muscles in the second half and kind of put Wolves away. So I could see 3-0. Saka brace where he pretends to be Thierry Henry, and then we'll give Calamari. Let's give Calamari a goal. So, and then Arteta can just like stare longingly into his eyes or whatever is going on there. I can't. I have no clue what was going on there. I think, to touch on that a second, I think he did, when he was talking about what he liked about him, he mentioned his aura.
He did.
Which is,
like,
because
quote unquote.
it just feels like 13-year-old on NBA Twitter way to describe someone. Like, I feel like that's like how like people like would describe like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and here's Arteta talking about Calafiore. So, but I think Arsenal are going to be really good this year, and I think that's how they'll start the season. They'll manhandle Wolves.
Yeah, I agree. I think, given the circumstance, it's Arsenal, it's at home, it's against Wolves. And I looked at this Wolves team recently, and apart from Hwang Hee-chan, not the Korean guy, I mean, their team doesn't look that amazing. They're still playing Semedo in big 2024. So I mean, after losing Neto, I think the rest of this team doesn't look as amazing. So I mean, given the circumstances at home, Arsenal, have a full squad basically. It's gonna be a nice little 3-0 thrashing, in my opinion, just to get the season started. I think Saka's just gonna go straight off the bat, attack whoever's starting at left back. Doherty, that one Tottenham dude.
I think it's Ait Nori, but I still think Saka will probably put him on toast.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be easy 3-0 victory.
All right. The last season at Goodison Park. It's Everton's last season there. They start the season against Brighton.
Come out to Goodison Park. Or I would say, see, this is weird because like Brighton, they're not the same Brighton, from 2 years ago. Everton, they're very, 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 very weird as well. Just because they lost a lot of great players. They signed some players, but like they're not really like needle movers per se. This could be a draw, but also Brighton defensively is not good unless something has changed with this new manager, this young dude that they got now, who Matt also said he's American, so I guess you keep an eye out on him. But I don't know, 1-1. I guess that'll be a draw.
I appreciate the vote of confidence there on the 1-1.
Yeah,
I mean, I could definitely tell how much you believe that.
I mean, it could either be like a crazy game or it could be like a dead 1-1 game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you could get more ideologically opposed right now than Everton and Brighton, because Everton has Sean Dyche, which is just like this 50-year-old like I feel like he shows up to like Nigel Farage rallies, and then Brighton are like, here's this 32-year-old we found at St. Pauli drinking like vegan lattes. This is a Premier League game. I'll just go next. I think Brighton's a better team, but I think Everton will just rough it up. They'll steal a 2-1 win at the end of the game, like you were kind of just saying in your inability to kind of like give a score. I have no clue how this game's gonna go.
Yeah, I agree. I think both teams are just really weird. Because while Brian may have like Matoma, I can't name like a single player outside of Brighton's team anymore because like De Zerbi is so important. But I mean, Everton last season at Goodison, I forgot that was a thing. It makes me want to like rethink my relegation candidates. But I think it's gonna be like an Everton 1-0 victory, just something a classic Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets it muddy. Newcastle is hosting Southampton. So not a really fair start for Southampton either. I think they would have probably wanted a different team to start the season off against than at St. James's.
Yeah. It's gonna be an Isak cooking session, bro. It's gonna be
Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Yeah, bro. It's gonna be bad. Like I'm thinking it's gonna be 4-0. It's gonna be 4-0. Isak probably 2 goals. Anthony Gordon's probably gonna be cooking. Is Almiron still like a big piece of their squad or no?
He almost got.
He
almost.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna leave to MLS.
That deal kind of just like it was announced like it was gonna happen, and then literally like it died immediately. Almost kind of like how like that Lamine Yamal news came out today, where it was like his dad got stabbed, and then 10 minutes later they're like, "Oh, he's out of the hospital." That's what the Almiron to Charlotte FC transfer saga was.
Yeah, it's like the DDA Drogba when he got malaria, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
Carlo
yeah.
Ancelotti, he's like, yeah, he doesn't have it anymore.
Like,
But yeah, it's gonna be 4-0. I think Newcastle's gonna be flying, bro. So yeah, good start for Newcastle. Good start for at St. James's Park for sure.
I mean, I'll go next on that. I think it'll be 5-0. I don't trust Southampton's backline at all. They have Hardwood Bellis, which, like I said, I think I said on Sunday, I think they made some really good signings. But Newcastle's healthy. I think people are sleeping on Newcastle just because they were so unhealthy last year, and they're not in Europe this year. I think they're gonna put like Southampton to like the sword as like a sacrifice to, hey, everyone needs to know that we're actually serious this year. Now
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll put 5 past them, so I'll go 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, terrible fixture for Southampton, and St. James Park is always rocking. Consider it's the first game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna explain more. Y'all already touched upon it. It's gonna be like a 4-0. I'll give Southampton a bit of a doubt. A 4-1 win for Newcastle.
I can't wait for Southampton to win 3-0 and make us all look stupid. Uh,
Right.
but it'll be next game is Nottingham Forest versus Bournemouth at the City Ground in Nottingham.
See, like this game could be interesting, but
Mm-hmm.
also at the same time, it could be another dead match.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing: like I like Forest's attack. I like Gibbs White as a 10. I like Hudson Odoi. But other than that, it's just like okay. Like maybe I'm Chris Wood. I think he's still is he there still?
I think so. I could pull that up real quick. Hold
Um,
on.
but I
I
mean,
mean,
we're talking
Chris
about
Wood
Chris
is a
Wood in
criminal.
2024. Like so. I mean, I think it's going to be a decent match. I mean, it could be. No, I'm gonna go with the Bournemouth 2-1. I think they're going to be. I think it'll be decently, organized. I like, I like Max Herons. Even though they just signed Julian Arujo, the former LA Galaxy, former. I don't know if you really would consider him as a Barcelona player, but he was on the books there somehow. I have no idea how, but
Former American.
yeah, yeah, he did switch sides as well. And obviously Tyler Adams is there, so he brings that midfield, stability. And also Enes Uno, he was there for the last part of the season, but a former City player, went out on loan or went out to Getafe. Now he's at Bournemouth. So, or Twente, then Getafe, whatever. I forgot which way he went, but I think they're going to be decent. I think they're going to be a side who scores a decent amount of goals. I don't think they're going to really miss Solanke that much. Um, and that's not a dig at Solanke. I think it's because they did decent,
Mm-hmm.
decent business, and also in retaining Unal. So yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1, 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with like a basic 1-1 game. I'm not too. I don't know most about these teams, and I agree with TJ. Like they're not gonna miss Lanky as much. They'll probably bring up like some random like academy product into that striker position and end up playing really well. So I mean, I can't really give a prediction, but I'll just go like a basic 1-1. I mean, not too sure about Nottingham Forest as well, uh, who they've signed, but 1-1.
Yeah, I'll go for a draw as well, but I'll go 2-2. I think both of these teams have kind of like that high level attack. I think it'll be a very back and forth game because I think both teams will want to kind of like regain possession and then go. So, but I think it's at the City Ground. Nottingham know that if they're going to stay up, they have to take as many points from home as possible. So I think they'll take a point off Bournemouth here, and I think it'll be a 2-2 game. But like I said, a very entertaining game to watch. West Ham versus Aston Villa, and West Ham's hosting at the London Stadium. Two
That's a
teams who
banger.
probably I think have had two of the best windows, not even just in England, but in the world in the summer.
Mm, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a banger, bro. That's
Yeah.
shout out Seamus, but that's a banger, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna go. See, it's easy to go with a draw here, but I also can see because last season Aston Villa kind of started off kind of slow. I remember people were writing them off, except for Sir Alex Ferguson. You know what? I think I think Unai Emery, the fact that he's in his second season versus Lopetegui, he has a better understanding of his squad, even though they brought in a lot of new players. For that, I mean, I think that's going to be a big indication just going into the season. And also, Aston Villa wanted to go, on a decent start before 2 games a week start to happen. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with
Yeah, I see. The thing is, I think it's gonna be. It might be an Aston Villa upset, in my opinion. I think West Ham has just had, in my opinion, the best window in terms of signing every player they kind of need in
mm-hmm.
the team, basically. Like Fulkrug, again being a Champions League final, um, player and being an important player for Germany as well. You're signing basically someone who has that experience already playing for Dortmund in the Champions League, and a player who, like, plays for Germany, scores important goals. He's definitely gonna be a great player. Even though he's old, but Fulkrug, great signing. Somerville as well from Leeds. I know Leeds are definitely gonna miss him because he was definitely like a star player for them. And you still have players like Jared Bowen, Paqueta, and like Kudus as well. Like these are type of players that you know a team like Arsenal should have in the future. Like at this, when you're looking like 10 years in the past, you think like this type of team would be like a Champions League caliber team, considering that attack. Can't say the same about their defense though; it's still a little bit wonky. But I mean, London Stadium is definitely going to be an upset. I think it's going to be a West Ham like 3-0 win.
Wow, 3-0.
I think Aston Villa are going to get bombarded by that West Ham attack, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm going to go Villa 3-2. Like I said, I think both of these teams have like drastically improved. I think they'll definitely be in the European Cup, or like the European Championship places this year. I just think like point to TJ where he was just talking about like how they started the season last year, Aston Villa. I mean, they got absolutely battered at St. James away, and I think they kind of will. I think Emery will just kind of be on them. We can't let this happen again to start the season. You can't be getting battered like that. Villa's been a historically poor match week 1 team. I remember a couple of years ago they lost to Watford. They lost to Bournemouth week 2, I think. No, I think they lost to Bournemouth early in the season the year before. So they're like notorious for kind of losing early in the year in games that they really shouldn't. So I think Emery's just kind of going to have them prepared for a game like this against a team who they might see at the end of the year in a very similar part of the table. So I go 3-2 for Villa. The Sunday games, it will be Brentford hosting Crystal Palace at the G-Tech Community Stadium.
Okay. I'm heavy on the Crystal Palace train, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Josh Harris, all them boys over there, but I think the signings that Palace have made to, I guess, kind of alleviate the Elise, it's been really well, and obviously we're talking about, Glasner coming in and changing the form of the club, in an instant, with the snap of the fingers as soon as he landed into London. I think Kamada is going to be a very, really big piece in how Crystal Palace, gets through a lot of these games, especially where teams like Brentford could be potential mid-table, close to them, like you're saying before, close to them in the table. So I think if Palace really wants to, solidify themselves as a serious, at least scraping for Europe, not necessarily being, favorites to be in Europe, but to be, be a serious, I think they should be able to handle Brentford, um, especially with Mark Gahey, showing his form in the Euros. I think they have a lot of good pieces. So I'm going to go with another away win. Crystal Palace. I'm going to go with the 2-0. 2-0.
Yeah, I think. Well, Crystal Palace has been good. I think they're gonna miss Elise a bit. Elise was that big X factor in that team. But I mean, they signed Sar from like Watford, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to go to like a big team a couple years back, but I'm not too sure about his performances in the recent seasons. But I mean, again, Crystal Palace look too good. Their midfield looks amazing. But I mean, Brentford still has the X factor, Ivan Toney. and I'm not too sure if Mbembo is back yet, but I mean, both of them are going to be a really good pair.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're Ivan Toney for me is like top 3 strikers in the league at the moment. No matter what he plays for, still a great player. Wins all the aerials you need. I'm gonna say like a 2-2 game. Tony's gonna like score twice, and like Crystal Palace will score 2. I don't know who's gonna score.
All right, I'm gonna go 1-1. Like we said, I think we all agree that the Palace project is probably like the most interesting it's been a decade in. They've just kind of built on Glasner with Kamada, spent the Elise money on Sar, but I think that'll probably catch them this week. I think they've been probably about hearing about how good they've been, and I think everyone's kind of been talking about how bad or if Brentford's going to be like circling the drains of relegation this year. So I think that'll probably inspire Brentford to take a point here, and I think they will. So I'll go 1-1. Chelsea is at home at the Bridge, and they're playing against four-time defending champions, 115 defending charges.
All right.
I said 115 defending charges. Yeah, okay, the flexing's a little too much. But
Lazy man.
Manchester City. So Andy goes first, then I'll go, and then we'll let the blue boy over there. We'll let him have his say on the game.
I'm gonna upset you, TJ. Not too much. But I mean, given like the circumstance of the game, Chelsea having a 45-man squad, Man City coming back from a semi-decent preseason, and it's at the Bridge, and considering Palmer will most likely be playing, it's gonna be an entertaining game. This one, no, like no other game will be playing at the time. Everyone's gonna be watching this game. Everyone's gonna be cooking everyone on Twitter. You know how it goes. I think it's gonna be a really really fun match from both sides. It's gonna be really exciting. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna say like a 3-3 game from Chelsea and Man City. I don't think Man City, Man City rely too much on Rodri, in my opinion. Even though I think he'll be playing. Um, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I mean, come on, it's a game of the Bridge. He's gonna
I
get
think I'm
overwhelmed.
sorry to cut you off. I think Poch to U.S. national team just got confirmed
Oh snap!
because
What?
Men in Blazers just tweeted it. Well, hold on, give me a second. So, like I said, I didn't mean to
Uh,
cut you off. My apologies, but it just like my feed just
oh no, bro,
wow. That it's
They
pretty
announced
much
it.
wow. It's confirmed. Poch is the
bro,
national team coach.
are you looking at Man Blazers one or
Uh
because the U.S. badge is photoshopped onto his shirt?
oh
He-
oh. But I mean, they pose. I don't know. They're pretty big though. I mean, I don't think they would. Like they're right on NBC, right?
I think so.
Yeah, like I think they do stuff for NBC, so I don't think they would be going in on something like that. Like they did they have a thing tomorrow with Mikel Arteta. I guess I have no clue what's going on here. That just got
Bro,
like they put that out there, so I'd say it's pretty much confirmed that it's going to be Pochettino for the national team.
and hopefully, I think this would be a good one, a good signing right here.
But I didn't mean to cut you off there. So you're saying 3-3?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be 3-3. I think Palmer at the Bridge, back again at home against Man City. Man City, being away, and Stamford Bridge curse for them sometimes. And given the team, I think Rodri will get completely overwhelmed. He might not be like completely fit and ready back for the start of the season. So, I mean, it's gonna be exciting. 3-3.
I think I'll go 3-1 City. I just saw these guys play in Columbus a couple of weeks ago because they were here. And if that told me anything, it's that Tosin Adriabayo and I think Wesley Fofana was the other center back. They just don't know what to do with Erling Haaland. And I think you're taking in that game they had Reece James. They're not going to have Reece James. They will have Cole Palmer. But I mean, I think that was a game where Chelsea was really trying to find an identity, and City literally just had Haaland and the kids out there. It was really Haaland, Oscar, Bob, and a bunch of the guys that Pep is just going to keep in the the cupboards this year, and they just ran through a mostly first team Chelsea side. So I see more of the same here. I just don't think that Chelsea is going to be in sync enough to handle a City team that I think is just going to roll most teams this year. So I'll go 3-1.
I think the fact that, I mean, I'll be honest, Chelsea are like one of the, like our biggest bogey teams. You know, like a few years ago, they beat us like 3 times, and the third time being the Champions League final. And then last season, the 4-4 game, which came out of nowhere because people thought that we were going to just sweep up Chelsea because Chelsea was in like a bad run of form. Obviously City were doing their thing, and then that game happened. I really hope that Kyle Walker doesn't play this game, man, because that guy. Here's the thing: it's funny because like Kyle Walker, he's like respected amongst like the squad, but amongst the fans, like the fans hate him. Like we hate him, like a lot. Sort of similar to I guess like Zinchenko, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But I expect this to be a hard game. I mean, preseason I really take it with a grain of salt. But I do agree with you, with Andy saying that we do rely on Rodri a lot. We should have definitely signed a backup by then, by now. But the problem is no one wants to really sign Phillips, and that sort of thing. But I mean, look, here's the thing: we sold Alvarez for 95, I think 95 million. Great, great business in my opinion. I think that's really, really good. But I don't know. I just feel like we haven't really seen. I think there's still things left for us to do. I'm not sure if this is the final squad or not. I think we're going to bring somebody in. I'm not sure who, but that's really not going to affect this game. So I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Andy. I just think that this Wright's trap game, it just does. Like, it just doesn't feel good to me. Hopefully they can prove me wrong, but it's not even me trying to do like reverse psychology either. Like I generally feel like we always start the season off slow. Like Cancelo's still on our books. Like if that doesn't say anything, like all right, like I think that's glaring to me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the draw to start off the season. I'll take a point away. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, and the final game of the week is the Monday night game. Leicester City hosting the 24-25 Premier League champion Tottenham Hotspur.
You mean the A League or the J League Challenge Cup winners?
You'll never sing that. They don't invite you guys out to Japan. You guys have to go to the States. We get flown out to New Zealand. You guys can't make it out there. You guys can't handle it.
High life, mate. High line for life, mate.
Yeah.
This is our identity, mate.
It's who we are.
You know what? I want to see a Jamie Vardy troll session in 2024.
Okay.
So bad, bro. So bad.
Is he even?
The fact that we're mentioning
like,
his name as like a potential, like he's actually like he probably is going to start.
I think he'll lead the line, probably. Yes.
Like that's crazy to me. Like this dude 10 years ago basically was running it up with Mahrez and Conte, and now
he's got Harry Winks and
Mavadidi.
Yeah.
My goodness. Like who are these guys, bro?
Harry Winks was in a Champions League final.
How?
For Tottenham.
I was just kidding about him, but I don't know any of these other guys. Like is Ndidi still on the team?
Ndidi, yeah. I think yes, and so is Pereira.
Okay, but who's their goalkeeper? Is it still Danny Ward?
It's not. Is it Hermansen? Mads Hermansen or something like that? Or
okay, yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, I know. I know it's one of the young Danish keepers.
Okay. You know what? I mean, I'm not going to hate on Spurs, bro. I mean, they should be able to take care of business. So for predictions reasons, I'm going to go with a 3-1. Especially Madison going back. He might get booed every time he gets on the ball, but because I don't think Leicester fans really rock with him. I think they thought that he didn't give enough energy towards the end of the season when they got relegated. But yeah, I mean Spurs, if they really want to be serious, taken serious, they have to get it done. You can't lose, you can't draw this game. So yeah, 3-1 to Spurs, but I won't be surprised if you guys lose. That's all I gotta say. I won't be surprised. So
I'm gonna go with a Jamie Vardy hat trick.
Hey, Harry Winks double hat trick. because we go down in the 8th minute and Ange just brings on like 6 strikers to run a high line on. Yeah. And then I got to be told that's who we are.
Run it back, 15-16 season, come on. But no, seriously, I'm going to say, given the Spurs team, a bunch of young talent, good defense, having Solanke in there is definitely a big plus. So, I think it's gonna be a little bit of a cakewalk for Spurs, even though it's a Monday night game. Leicester's at home. Leicester's back in the Prem. They want to show that they're not the same Leicester team that they were 2 years ago. But Spurs is not a really good start for them. I would say like a 2-1 Spurs win. I think Spurs is gonna get like a crappy goal at the end in Spurs fashion. So 2-1 for Spurs.
That's what I'm going with. I'm going 2-1 as well. I just think it'll just go like how most Tottenham games went last year. Leicester will score in the first half on the dumbest mistake from the back you'll ever see. And then in the second half, Tottenham will score like 2 goals in 3 minutes, and that'll just be the whole entire game. It'll probably be the most boring game of the weekend. So, I think we do it. I think we'll win, just because I think the talent disparity is massive between the two sides. But, yeah, I don't see a way where, unless we're just, off our game, that Leicester beats us here. So I think that does it for